I don't think I knew I was going to be in the industry. I knew that music was possible. I knew that I loved music, and I was absorbing it from such an early age that it helped to see the path already sort of forged ahead of me. Even though I could see it was sort of fraught with risk, and my dad went through all sorts of ups and downs, but also just had lots of meaningful experiences doing it, and clearly just loves it with all of his heart. And so I think I knew it was for me. I just didn't know if I'd end up, as in I knew. Sorry, fuck that answer. I was obsessed with music, and my dad was too, and he showed me that I could do it. I think when Beyonce walked into the studio when I was recording Forward, that was probably the most memorable recording experience I can think of. I mean, that was really, really special, and how sweet she was about the music, and Blue was there, and she, was singing along and going forward, and she's like, I don't know how old she was at the time, but it was cute because it was like, if a kid is hearing the music and singing back one of the lyrics, then it's catchy. You've done something right. Yeah, I started when I was like back in the day when I was sort of making a lot of dance music. My first round of making dance music, I'd say. I was sampling like vocals. I mean, there were sample packs floating around the internet, so there were things like, I don't know, Timbaland sort of produced songs where the acapellas were now available online, and sample packs from like the Neptunes, and sample packs and it meant that a lot of producers around that time, because these were the first sample packs that were kind of available, really, and we just kind of used whatever we could find on the internet that was, as material for making stuff. So there's a lot of dance music that samples 90s R&B, and I just started remixing things, and I started making instrumentals, and sometimes they'd be dance music, sometimes they'd sound a bit hip-hoppy, as a kind of homage in a way, and then as time went on in my own music, I started to ask, I asked RZA to be on my second album, and then I did the song with Chance the Rapper, and it sort of went from remixing hip-hop tracks from the 90s to actually making music with rappers currently, and obviously a lot of those people from the 90s are still, those songs from the 90s, those artists are still making music, but for me the roots started there for me, and then since then it's kind of just there's been lots of collaborations. I think my sound evolves naturally just because I don't have any templates, right? So I don't have one, like there's even the sample library I draw from, like I make every beat from scratch. There's always all the synths I use, I'm never going back to the same presets, but very rarely. And so I'm always, every component of the track is probably new in some way, and it's all being built from the ground up every time. And I think that means that naturally things evolve, and while it's more difficult to do it like that, it's usually leads to kind of mutations that make me happy that I'm doing something new. So yeah, I get bored with the same old stuff, so it all just has to move in a direction, whether it's good or not. I'm inspired by lots of things, but I think more recently, in the last few years, it's been collaboration. Just ideas from, bouncing off each other. People who, it took me a while to realise that I don't always have the right answer for my music. And, sometimes someone will come along and do or say something that completely throws the song onto a different course, and for the most part, that's led to my favourite music. So I think collaboration's been the main thing. Yeah, it's really important for everyone to talk about it. I think men historically are probably the most stigmatized by each other for talking about it, but I think that it's a topic that, it's Mental Health Day. We're doing this on Mental Health Day, so this is a perfect time to be talking about this. For me, I've written about this publicly, and I've done essays, and I've talked about how I struggle with it, and I think the most important thing is that you have someone that you can be open with, whether that's a stranger on the internet or a partner or a friend, and I think why it's so important is that to talk about it is that thoughts, when kept in, tend to fester and become much worse than they ever would if you were to just say them out loud, even the worst things in your mind. I think it's important to say the darkest things in your mind out loud and hear how they sound, because thoughts of those things, of that nature, rattling around in that brain, they tend to magnify, and they tend to potentially be more powerful and have more power over you. So it's important to get them out. Well, we're in this tough little situation, aren't we? So I don't know. If the pandemic hadn't happened, then I may be able to give you a more rooted answer in how the music industry is going to change. But right now, we don't even know how we're going to go and play live yet. So, and we don't know how, it's like the streaming, so everything, like almost everything is thrown off balance. So I guess I'm not sure if I'm the right guy to ask how it's going to change. It depends. I think the least satisfying version of my music making process is when I'm working on my own and I'm just trying to make music. I think that's when I'm least successful. When I'm most successful is when I'm either working with other people and bouncing ideas and singing on music I wouldn't normally sing on, or when I just have there's a kind of a way of tuning everything out and having a moment where everything just flows very easily. And honestly, I think most musicians and producers, whatever, I think we're just waiting for that moment. And there are things you can do to make that more likely, but there's no science to catching the lightning in a bottle.
Great.
My biggest accomplishment, excuse me. After everything I've done, I think probably my biggest accomplishment was honestly overcoming and figuring out my mental health, to be honest, and maybe figuring out how to be a valuable member of a relationship, or even society, and I'm still working on that, but I think that's more, to me, that stuff is far more satisfying, and just like showing my friends I love them, learning how to do that, even, like that. I think I was so far behind on a lot of that stuff through, I don't know, and it kind of follows on from that mental health question. It's like, I sort of spent a lot of time of my life on the road and all that stuff. And I think you can get quite far away from a normal path in that kind of industry. And I think just and with help, like just finding my route and finding my grounding and coming to some balance, I think is more of an achievement than any of it.
It's great. Perfect.
Yeah. So this EP is kind of a culmination of years of dance music influences. I sort of spent many years making dance music and DJing, and then I sort of took some time away, and I was mostly touring the live show and my albums and stuff. And for some reason I compartmentalized them. I sort of I was like, well, dance music's over here, and my sung songs are over here. And what I like about this EP is that it's meshed the two finally, and I think that quite a few fans wanted me to do that a bit earlier, but anyway, here we are. I've done it now, and during quarantine when no one can go to clubs. But it's still, I'm really proud of it. So yeah, I don't know, what was the other question you asked?
That was it.
That was it.
Oh, the end. What are you guys looking forward to? What's coming on the pike?
Next is, look, I did the Flatbush Zombies song that just came out. I produced something for them. There's a lot more where that came from. There's collaborations with other rappers, singers, stuff I can't really fully go into right now, but some amazing people that I can't wait to share the results with. And just because, especially if it's their music, I can't tell everyone about it. But yeah, there's that, and also just like a new record. I'm working on a new album. I don't know when exactly that's going to come out or when that's exactly going to be finished, but look, I've got shit all else to do. I'm in lockdown. I've got to work on something. So I think we're gonna, I think we're gonna finish that.